Hello, today I'm going to be showing you how to build this simple, beautiful dashboard in Bubble. So here it is right here, nice and simple. It has a few tabs here, each one with its own content. We used a little bit of transitions. We're going to use a little bit of parameters. There's also the logout functionality. There's no accounts or sign up built into this, so it's not really logging anything out, but it would work if you had an account signed in. And then using transitions, I'm going to show you how to make the background, transition like an animation almost, so it's not super rigid. So it's nice and smooth and fluid. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Alrighty, so here we are on a blank canvas. Feel free to go ahead and build it your way to fit your actual application. I'm going to go ahead and build it the same as the demo that I showed at the beginning. So to get started, let's go ahead and adjust the main page. Actually, before we do that, let's create a new page. We'll call it dashboard. Perfect. So we got the dashboard page, and now we're going to go ahead and double click on that. Let's change the width to 1280. And then to give us some room, let's do 1000. Cool. And then we're going to go ahead and change the container layout to row, so it can be a little more responsive. Cool. So there's the starting point here. This we can all just leave as is. Awesome. So to start, to get the sidebar to kind of float on top, and so that it doesn't actually scroll with the page when you scroll, with the actual content, we're going to use a floating group. And that allows you to just have the sidebar always floating on top. It's never going to scroll, and it's just going to move with the page as you scroll down the rest of your content. So we're going to start with that. Go ahead and throw it on top. All right, awesome. So for this, let's go ahead and change it first to floating group dash navbar. Cool. And then we're also going to make it container layout of column. And then we can keep it fixed width for now. We're not really doing any super responsive design right now. Just kind of showing you how to build the dashboard. Later on, I'll make another video with this same dashboard where we'll go over the responsive side of things. But for now, we'll just keep it nice and simple, fixed width 280. Min height, go ahead and delete that. And then we'll go ahead and uncheck fit height to content, so it stretches down to the bottom. And then to give us a little bit of padding within the actual container here, we're gonna do a left and right. And that is so when we have the different nav links, nav buttons, whatever you want to call them, they have some space on the side here. Cool. So then on the right side here, we are going to have another group. This is going to be the container for all of the different types of content that will appear. This is going to be a column layout. It is going to be visible on page load. Okay, we're going to go ahead and vertically stretch it. Fixed width, no minimum height. Cool. So now this group main is stretching the entire page vertically. Now we're going to want to go ahead and move it to the right slightly so that it's not behind the floating group. So no content disappears behind it. Let's go ahead and add some margins to the left side. So for the example I showed at the beginning, it has a left margin of 340. You can play with that however you like, whatever fits best for your content. Then we're going to add some padding in the inside, top 24, bottom 40, and then a right margin of 40 as well. Cool. So let's go back a little bit. I have the kind of like a dark mode going on with my dashboard here. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to this one. No, it'll be this one. So that'll be the background color that I'm going to use for this application. Never mind, I'm going to use this one. So now that we got that group going, let's go ahead and start adding some content to the sidebar. We're going to go ahead and start with an image for our logo. So let me go ahead and drop that in there. Boom, boom. Go ahead and upload it to wherever I downloaded that. Oh, there it is. Perfect. All right, and we're going to want to go ahead and keep the aspect ratio fixed, so it's not all stretched and wonky. Make this a little smaller. We'll do 180. Let's do 160. There we go. And then we're going to center that horizontal alignment. And then we're going to add a top margin of 20. All right, so we're going to create another group here. This is going to contain all of the navigation buttons, including the sign out at the bottom or the logout. So it's going to be a container layout column. We're going to go ahead and space between, no minimum width, no minimum height. We're going to remove this for now. Once we add content, we'll go ahead and check this back on, but just so that we can actually drop things in here, we'll leave that stretched down. And then we're going to add some margin at the top and bottom to give it some space in between the logo and the very bottom of the page. All right, and then we're going to create another group to contain all of the navigation, the top navigation buttons. So we're going to do column as well here. It's visible on page load, perfect. Left align. This we can make 0. And we can make this 140. And then we're going to want to create some gap spacing between all the different buttons. And so we're going to go ahead and make this about 12 or 14. We'll do 14. And then that'll allow us to get some gap. And let's rename this to group nav. Perfect. Right, and so let's go ahead and create a group for the logout button at the bottom. We're going to do that right there. I'm going to delete the minimum width, make that 0, minimum height 60, perfect. This looks all good. We're going to rename it to group logout. Oops, if I could spell. Perfect, so now it's time to go ahead and add all the different nav links on the left side here. So they're all going to be within a group. It allows us to give some space to be able to click on it, so we don't have to click on the text, but we can click on the section around it as well, where the background will appear. So this right here, we're going to make it, so we're going to go ahead and make it a row, because we'll have the icon to the left, and then we'll have the text to the right. And then we're going to go ahead and make it a min width of 0. Let's change this to 54, a little smaller. And we're going to name that group dashboard, because that is going to be the link there, is going to be the dashboard link. And then on the left side, as you saw in the demo, we have an icon. Bubble does have a default icon element. Where's it at? Right here. I like to use the Google material icons, and you could just go to plugins, you click add plugin, and then just type in Google material, and then it'll be that one right there. So that's what we're using for this specific demo. So let's go ahead and drop that in here. All right, so it took me a second to find it, but for the actual demo that we used for the dashboard icon, I use these 4 little squares here. And then for the color, we're going to use just white. And then we'll go ahead and make the layout 20 pixels by 20 pixels. Go ahead and vertically align that to the center. So let's go ahead and add some text as well. So we're going to go ahead and click right here. We're going to name this dashboard. And then the sizing of it is, let's see, body large. That's 16 pixels. That's about right. Let's see. Text is white. Perfect. We're going to go to center, vertically align that as well. We'll delete all this spacing. Fit with the content's fine. And we're going to want to go ahead and create some space in between the icon and the text. So we'll go back to the actual container of that element. We'll do allow gap spacing between elements, and then we'll do a column gap of about 14. And then at the bottom here, we're going to go ahead and create a left padding to give us some space on that left side of 30 pixels. So let's go ahead and create some functionality for these navigation links. I'm going to do all of it, all of the content and everything in one group, and then we'll just make it real easy on ourselves, and then we'll just duplicate it however many times we need to add the additional links there. So to start, let's go ahead and click add workflow. And we're going to do add an action. Very simple. We're just going to go to page dashboard, and we're going to send more parameters to the page. And then we're going to use the key. We're just going to use like key is fine. And then we're going to send dashboard, because that'll be the dashboard page, the main dashboard page when we click on that. So let me show you actually what that does. So if we preview this, and let me delete this up here. Perfect. So when I click on dashboard here, as you can see up at the top, it populated P equals dashboard. And so that's what a parameter is. It allows you to put data into the actual URL. And then with that data, we can display some type of content, add some conditionals, different things like that to interact with that actual parameter. Let's go ahead and create the functionality of when you click on it, the background appears. And so what we're going to do is say, we're going to go to the conditional tab for the actual dashboard group. We're going to define another condition, and we're going to get data, from page URL. Then it's going to populate type parameter. Parameter name is going to be that key value that we created, type text. I'm going to close that. I'm going to do is dashboard, type that out, and then just click off. So when the actual key of P equals dashboard, then we're going to do something, right? So we're going to go ahead and select a property to change when true. We're going to change the background style of this to flat color. And then we're going to also do the background color. And then we're going to choose that surface variable that I have saved. So anytime this is dashboard link is clicked, it's going to create a background color. So let's go ahead and preview that so you can kind of see what it looks like. So if we click on dashboard, boom, now we have that background, that surface background color. One thing we need to do as well is go down to roundness and add about 16 pixels of roundness around the edges here so it looks a little more smooth. All right, so at the beginning we talked about, or I talked about transitions. And so right now, if we preview this and we click on dashboard, see it kind of appears very rigidly. Just kind of, let me go back, just kind of appears there, right? So what we can do is actually something really cool is we can add a transition and we will choose background style, duration 200 milliseconds, ease is fine, and that's basically it. So if we go back to preview again, and if we click on dashboard, see how it kind of gently appears, right? It makes it nice and smooth, looks a little more professional. Other thing we did on the actual demo is that when we highlighted over the actual button, the text and the icon changed colors. They kind of, the text turned white, and then the icon turned this, bluish purple color, right? So let's go ahead and add the functionality for that. And we're going to want to do it specifically on these items here, on these elements. For the icon, we're going to go ahead and click the conditional tab, define another condition. And when get data from page URL, parameter P is dashboard. Oh, is dashboard. Got the is. So when the actual parameter of P equals dashboard, we're going to go ahead and do this. So we're going to change the icon color to this purplish color. So that's when we've actually clicked on it, right? Once we've clicked on it, it's going to go to the dashboard page, and then it's going to change the color of that. Let's also add the functionality to where when we hover over it, when we hover over this group here, have it change colors as well. So we're going to define another condition. When the group dashboard is hovered, we are going to change the icon color to this purple color. So let's go ahead and preview that. See, every time we hover over it, it's going to change that purple color. Let's also add a transition so it's not as harsh. Boom. We're going to do color, icon color. And then we'll do that same 200 milliseconds. Oh, let me move it to the left. Let me show you because I think my camera was blocking that. Let's do, where's it? Transition, color, icon color, and then 200 milliseconds is fine. One thing I also did in the demo so that it actually changes colors when we hover over the text to white. It's already white, right? So we're going to make it, give it some opacity so it actually has a change. So 80% on the icon, and then we'll go ahead and do 80% on the text here. We're going to add some conditionals to the actual text as well so that it changes colors. So when get data from page URL, parameter name P is dashboard. We're going to go ahead and change the color, the font color to white, but give it 100% opacity. And then we're also going to define a condition to when it is actually hovered. So we're going to want to hover over that actual group. Dashboard group is hovered. And then we're going to change the font color to text white again, and then we'll do a 100%. Wonderful. So let's preview that. So if we hover, they change color. Oh, one thing I forgot to do. Go back. Forgot to add the transition to the text. So font color right here. So font color transition, 200 milliseconds. So let's go back. Let's reload this. Boom. Now it changes color nice and smooth. Then we click on it, and then it's going to stay that color. So let's go ahead and work on the other ones. This is basically it. This is essentially all you need for the actual button. So now we can go ahead and do the fun task of just duplicating it. I'm going to duplicate it once here, show you what needs to be changed, and then it's basically the same changes for the rest, right? So the first thing we're going to need to do, this is going to be the analytics link. So we're going to go ahead and change that to analytics. And then the conditional show get P from page URL is dashboard. We're going to want to change that to analytics, which we haven't set up the workflow for that yet, but we will do that. And then we're going to change this group to group dashboard copy. Technically is what it is, right? But we're going to change that to group analytics. So on the actual group, the container for this nav, we're going to change the background color to appear when the parameter is analytics. That's good. And then we're going to click on the icon, change this to analytics as well. Perfect. Group analytics is hovered. Perfect. Let's go back to the container. Let's add the workflow, navigation, go to page, destination, dashboard, send more parameters to the page, P, analytics. Let's go ahead and test that out. So we'll click on analytics. Perfect. Go back to dashboard. It goes away. That's exactly what we want here. Last thing we want to do is go and change this icon. See if I can find it easily. It is right here. So there's that icon we want. All right, awesome. So I'm just going to go and do that same thing 4 more times. So we're just going to duplicate it 4 more times and then just make those same changes. So I'll be back once I finish that. With that, this is what it should look like. You can hover over it to change its colors. Click on it. It goes to that actual parameter into the URL, p equals calendar, changes to mail, and it also gets a background color once you click on it. So let's go ahead and build that logout button as well. It's going to be a little different because it's not going to have the background color or anything like that, because once you log out, it's just going to redirect you to a different page. I'm going to go ahead and copy what we've already built here, paste it in. We're going to change this group to a row. Perfect. And then we're going to add that gap spacing as well. And I think up here we had 14. Yep. 14. Then that left margin or left padding. Yeah, padding of 30 pixels. Right there. All right, cool. And then we can come in here and delete all these conditionals. We don't need that. And we'll also come in here and change this to 100%. I'm going to change this to log out. And then do this icon right here. Okay. So now the workflow for it's fairly simple. Add workflow. We're going to do a count and then just log the user out. If you had a login page or a sign up page or something, after it logs them out, you could have them navigate to that page. We currently don't have one because we're just building the dashboard, but that's something you can do there. All right, so now we're going to want to go ahead and create the functionality that will allow us to display different content based on what tab we have chosen or what navigation link we've clicked on. So we've already set up the workflow to add the parameter of p equals, whatever tab in the actual URL. We're going to use that to display the content on the right side here. So to start, let's create one for the dashboard link. So let's go ahead and create a group here, throw it in. We're going to name this dashboard. Now you don't want to have duplicate named items or groups in your actual application, right? So I've gone back off camera and I changed all of these groups to add nav to the end. So it wasn't the same as this group here. So group dashboard nav, same for the rest of these. So let's mess around with the layout a little bit. Column is fine. We are going to want some gap spacing of about 40. We do not want this to be visible on page load, and we want it to collapse when hidden. So in those page loads, this container will not be displayed unless we have that actual parameter equals dashboard in the URL, right? We also want it to collapse when hidden so that it's not creating any awkward space when the other content is being displayed. So here we're going to go ahead and delete the min width, min height, no padding, no margins. We're just going to fill in the space, disable fit height to content. We're going to fill in the space of the actual group main that we already created over here. And now, by default, it's not going to be visible on page. For us to allow it to be visible, we're going to create a condition. And we are going to say that when parameter name p is dashboard, kind of similar to what we did over here, when the URL has p equals dashboard in it, we're going to change the element to make it visible. We're going to want to make sure that's checked on. All right, so then we'll go ahead and create some demo content just so we can kind of see the visual changes as we change tabs. We're going to add some text there. Dashboard, obviously change this to whatever, works for your actual application. In this case, it's just something to kind of get a good idea on what it's going to look like, right? So if I hit the content there, let's change the size of this. Let's do something like, it's a little big. Let's do heading 3. All right, that's perfect. All right, cool. So there's that. And then in the demo, we had the 2 kind of rectangular squares at the top here, and then 1 singular rectangle here. So we'll just create that real quick. So we're going to do a group. We've already added that spacing right here, so you don't have to worry about margins or anything. It's already going to be there. We're going to name this the group dashboard top. And we're going to make this a row because the 2 squares are going to be going from left to right. And we're going to want some spacing there as well. Column gap of 40. This is fine. We're going to go ahead and take away all this. Fit height to content. Let's do a minimum height of 70 for now or whatever. Just so we can have something so we can place content in there. Then once we place the content in, we can disable fit height to content. Right, so let's create another group. Let's throw it in there. We'll just name this dashboard top left because it's the top left box. And this we can just leave column because we're not placing any content in there. We'll delete this, we'll delete that. Then allow it to fill in the actual space of the container. We'll just do a vertical alignment of vertical stretch so that'll stretch across the entire group there. And then let's go back up. And that should be everything we need there. And then the container for this top section, let's go back, let's remove this. We can remove fit height to content so it stretches all the way down. This group dashboard top left is also stretching all the way down. And then let's add some color to it. So background style, flat color, and we'll choose that purplish color. And then we're gonna go ahead and do Control D to duplicate it to create that right one. And then all we're gonna do here is just change the color to this surface variable. And then we're gonna take this group dashboard. Actually, let's change the name of this to just right. There we go. And then we're gonna duplicate this container. Now we got a bottom one. So we can name this the bottom. And then in this case, we'll just delete that one. And then one small thing I seem to always forget. Let's go ahead and add the roundness to these 3 elements. Boom, there we go. Wonderful. So now when we are actually on the dashboard page, this content is displayed. And then we'll go ahead and create the content for the other 5 navigation links. So to create the other content sections for these other pages, we're going to want to just simply duplicate the original group dashboard and then we can hide the original one. It's going to collapse it. And then in this one, all we need to do is just change a few things. So we're going to want to change the naming to avoid any confusion. We're going to want to change the conditional to when p equals analytics. So that should be good there. Change this text to say analytics. And then in the demo, I didn't have a top and bottom. I just had one section. There's that. And then we can just name this analytics content, I guess. Cool. So let's go back and preview that. And we got dashboard and we got analytics, and then those change when we actually select them, right? And we can also scroll through the content. And as you can see on the left side, the sidebar doesn't scroll. It just always floats on top. So that's essentially it. From here, you kind of just rinse and repeat the same thing we just did. You're just going to duplicate it to these other ones, change the parameter to equal, whatever the title of this actual tab is. And then from there, you're all set. So that is really it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, pretty soon I'm going to go ahead and make a responsive version of this as well, to where the sidebar may hide once it gets to a specific width, and so we can do some fun things like that. So if it's not out already, go ahead and subscribe so you can see that. If it is, you can go ahead and check out my channel. The video for that will be in the link as well if it's already created. So hope you guys enjoyed. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.